You know how it can be difficult to find the right backpack for your camera gear that fits everything that you need? For example, if you need to go traveling, you need something that's a little bit bigger, that fits more gear and some extra clothes. So let's say 2 to 3 days trip. This one is a 35 liters. It fits a camera cube with all your gear and also some excessive clothes. So if you put it on, then you have a nice big backpack and still fits great on your back. But then if you go out for everyday life when you get back and you just need something to go to a cafe or a small shoot, maybe you need something like this. This is a 20-liter bag. It's a bit smaller, so it fits the camera cube and still some extra things with the roll top. But then if you go for a longer trip, maybe, then it could be nice if you were able to combine the two. So these two actually fit together and combine into a 55 liters. So now you can go for a longer trip, you can keep all your clothes, all your gear in this one, and then still have this one for extra space. And then if you are on your trip, you can decide if you just want to bring one of them when you go out for shooting. Then if you have your night out with your friends or some smaller shoot, there's also the Sling that just fits your camera and it makes it super easy to keep it safe and just have around your waist or around your body like this, and you can just go around shooting without worrying about your gear being unsafe. So 4 months ago, Nostalgia reached out to me and asked if I wanted to test their backpacks. And those are the ones that you see in the background here and you saw in the intro as well. Now, I will say at first I was a little bit skeptical as they being a new brand and emerging from not having any products before. I didn't know what to expect, but I looked through their products and I've actually been following their journey for quite a bit, and their products seem very interesting. So I said yes, and 4 months later, here we are. I've had these bags with me around the world in 4 different countries, starting in Denmark, then Malaysia, then through all of Vietnam, and now I'm in Indonesia. And these have been with me all through that journey, and I've tested them out. They've been through a lot, and they've definitely taken a beating on the way as well. So it's the perfect time to make a review, as well as the Kickstarter campaign launching for the products as well. Now, the one thing I will say before we jump into the review is that these are sample products. These are not the final products that I have with me. The final products have slight adjustments from the feedback from some of the other ambassadors, myself included. So I will try and cover the changes that has been there as well, but you can also see the final products on the Kickstarter campaign. And there's a link down in the description as well if you're interested in checking that out. More about that in the end of the video as well. So let's get into it. And as you saw in the intro, there are 4 products. They are a 35 liter bag, a 20 liter bag, a Sling, I don't know how many liters that is, and a tech case. All products super great, but let's start with the 20 liters and the 35 liter. And the camera cube. So let me just bring those over and let's talk through them. The first thing I want to talk about is quality and build. Now, the 35 liter and the 20 liters here are both built by really nice materials. I was very pleasantly surprised when they arrived. They feel high quality. They've taken a beating, as I've said before, especially through Vietnam. We traveled all the way through the country and they've been through a lot. Mud, sand, dust, on motorbikes, in buses. They've been through quite a bit. So I will say I've put them to the test and they've held up really, really well so far. The way they're built is that they are a little bit taller and a little bit wider than most other camera bags, but at the trade-off of not being as deep. And that is actually a feature that I really like, both because they fit a lot better on the back, but they also fit a lot more gear, because usually I don't need the depth of the bag. I don't need it to be really deep this way, because my camera and my lenses will often be on this side anyway. So this, for me at least, is really good. Now, it's not to say that they're really slim, because they still have some volume, so you can definitely still fit a lot of things in here. More about that when we get to the camera cube in a little bit. But overall, these are really, really great. This is the 35 liter bag, and overall it just has a big compartment inside, and then you can put whatever you want. You can use this as a normal backpack, and you can also put the camera cube inside for your camera gear. It has water bottle pockets on each side. On the new designs, the final products, I know these are a little bit taller, which is great, because fitting a tripod or water bottle in here with the pre-production sample that I have, they were not really tall enough, but it still worked great. But a little bit taller will be absolutely perfect for the final products. Then there are some new ventilation on the back. This is not an issue that I've had, but I'm assuming that's some feedback they got from other ambassadors that this could use some update. I've had no problems at all with using these as they are, so I'm just happy with any upgrade. The big one have a hip belt. The smaller one that I have does not, but the final product has a detachable hip belt as well, which is great. So that's pretty much the outside, apart from this pocket on the top, which I've used a lot. It's perfect for fitting passports, sunglasses, small accessories that you just need to be able to reach pretty fast. Now, aside from that, both of the bags open from the back, which is a feature that I really appreciate. I've had Peak Designs bags in the past that open from the side, and I got absolutely annoyed with it every time I needed to use it because everything would just fall out and it was difficult to actually arrange things inside. This is not the case with these, especially with the camera cube inside. It's so nice, and I really love having the back opening. You can still open it from the side. There is an opening here in the side on the big backpack, and on the smaller one here, you also have a side pocket access that fits with the camera cube, making it easy to take out your camera if you have that on the pocket here. Now, before we jump inside the backpacks, one of the features that really stood out to me and is amazing about these bags is that you can actually attach the two together. So rather than having expandable bags, as you often see, these fit together, so you can attach the smaller 20 liter outside on the 35 liter and get 55 liters in total. Now, of course, that means that it's not like expanding a normal backpack and then having the exercise in the backpack itself. It's not the fastest to attach them, but the trade-off here is that it's a little bit more secure, which I prefer. It's not that it takes long, and it's probably just getting used to it. I haven't used it that much yet, but when I go on longer hikes or travels where I'll only bring these two bags, I'll definitely use that a lot because it's easier to just carry them around on the back like this. I really like that feature. It makes it so much easier to have multiple bags around. And as I've said pretty much in the intro as well, having a big backpack for those a little bit longer trips and the small one for the everyday stuff is absolutely perfect. Every time I go out for a small shoot here in Indonesia, I always just bring the small backpack. It fits all my gear. If I go on larger trips or I need a few days away, I can bring the big one and I can fit both extra clothes and toiletries and whatever I may need. And I could essentially bring this by just attaching it to the front as well. And then I have both bags with me if on the trip I just need the small one to go around. So for me, that's a huge, huge feature, something I haven't seen in any other backpacks and something that really stood out to me and has been such a game changer having these around. Normally, I would have only brought one backpack on my travels, and that would probably have been somewhere in the mid-size of this, which would have been a little bit too big for most things and a little bit too small for those a little bit longer trips. So having these options are really, really great for me and an essential thing now that I don't think I can ever swap away from, to be honest. And this sounds like I'm overhyping the products, but I actually am really excited about this feature and I think it's really great. So I want to point that out. If we switch to the insides of the bags, let's just unzip this. You have, of course, the large space. It's just an open bag. You have actually a little pouch on the inside here of the big bag, which is great as well for storing some small things. But also on the inside of the big bag here, you have a lot of pockets here, both outside and inside with a zipper. I've used these a lot. I put batteries, SSDs, extra SD cards, everything that I can put in here, and it's super easy to reach. And I haven't found that anything falls out of these pockets, which is great. Then there's the laptop compartment up here. Big compartment on the bigger bag, which is great. I fit both my laptops. I actually fit 2 laptops and a tablet, an iPad in here without any trouble and without it getting too heavy because it sits up against the back. So that's perfect, and I don't feel like it gets uncomfortable with the padding that's on the back as well. So for me, that has been absolutely great. And then of course, the camera cube can fit in here, making it essentially a camera bag as well, which is what I primarily use it for. On the smaller one, you have an equal room as well on the inside. And you also have the small pockets up here. You actually have as many pockets as you have on the big one, of course, just a little bit smaller. But that's just great. You can do the same setup with the small bag and the big bag, which I love. Don't have to reorganize everything. You can just use it the same way as you used it already. This laptop compartment up here fits my 14-inch MacBook great, and I'm pretty sure a 16-inch would fit greatly in here as well. I haven't tested that, but there's plenty of space for my 14-inch, so I can't imagine anything else. My tablet in here, of course, as well. This is just a great small backpack. I really enjoy having this around. With the camera cube inside, it pretty much takes up the normal space of the backpack. So you can't fit that much more inside when it is like this. But if we just zip it up again, we have the roll top up here, which is a neat feature because if you don't need the extra space, you can just have it rolled down like this and you don't really see it, and it just adds a little bit of extra padding on the top. But if you do need the extra space, you can roll this out and it actually gets pretty tall. The camera cube fits to around here. And then you have all of this space up here. Now, one thing for me that has been a little bit annoying was that things would fall from this compartment into the other one. And because it's a soft bag like this, because you can use it as a normal backpack, when the camera cube is in there, sometimes things would fall behind. But in the final product, they've actually solved this by putting a sack inside, so nothing falls into the bigger compartment. Of course, you can't reach things from the big compartment inside of the other one, but to me, that's not really a problem. This is a much bigger or better fix, having this sack up here, because now you essentially have space for clothes, shoes, whatever else you might need, which is perfect for me. This is exactly what I've used it for. Also the tech pouch and other accessories that I might need on my shoot, I fit up here and it fits perfectly inside. I also have a pocket on the outside here. I haven't used that as much, but it's great to put some papers, passports, or smaller accessories that you need to reach easily in here as well, so they don't get lost. One thing that I forgot to mention about the bigger backpack is that you actually have a super cool feature on the bottom here, where you have a shoe compartment in the bottom. Right now I have the rain cover stored in here that came with the big bag. There is also a rain cover available for the smaller one, as far as I understand. It is pretty weather resistant as far as I've tested it, but I have put the rain cover on if I've been out in heavier rain. But this compartment is super cool because you can fit shoes. I've done that a lot when we've been traveling around. If I needed to have my shoes with me, this compartment sits below everything else and is something for itself, so your shoes doesn't make everything else dirty and they don't have to hang around on the back. They can fit in here with the rain cover or with the rain cover somewhere else. That is a feature that I didn't really think I would use that much, but I actually have come super in handy, especially when I've been traveling around in Vietnam. Now, having covered the two backpacks without anything in it, of course we need to talk about the camera cube as well. This is the camera cube. I don't know how many liters this is actually, but I've had a great relationship with this camera cube so far, especially the way that it fits all my gear. Of course, that's the most important part. The only thing that stood out to me was that it is a little bit soft, not padding wise, so it will definitely keep your camera gear safe, but more in terms of not being as sturdy when I put gear in, which has sometimes meant that it has bent a little bit. Mostly because I've really stuffed this with a lot of gear. But I know on the final version, these are a little bit more stiff, which I think is a great addition. So it also has a handle up here, so you can actually just bring this around if you just need that, which is great, especially in the airport. If they're telling you that your bag is too big or too heavy, if you have your camera gear in here, you can just take this out and you will definitely be able to get through with this, which is a great thing because I think we all know that going through the airport can be a little bit of a hassle with a lot of gear. Also, I know that it's a selling feature on these products that you can bring all of it through the security and onto the plane because the small backpack can fit underneath the seat and the bigger one in the compartment above. I haven't done that myself. I've been traveling with the smaller one because I like to keep it a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller when I do it, but that is an option and I know that's something that they have tested, so it is possible to do that as well. Let's open up the camera cube. And my favorite feature, apart from that you can fold this flap down, so you can actually have that just as an opening in the camera bag and have access right away. The thing that I love the most about this camera cube are the dividers in here. I have not had another backpack with better dividers than these, and I even know that they are improved a little bit for the final product as well, making them just a bit better, a bit taller, with a bit of a wider range of features as well. But some of the details to notice here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, is this little ankling that are on this large one, which just perfectly fits the handle of my camera, and it's something that I always annoyed me with other dividers, that I couldn't customize it to actually fit my camera. This is perfect because I actually feel like I get everything out of this space in here. Normally I have my camera that I'm recording on right here, my Canon R6, with the 24-70 or the 70-200 in here. The other lens goes in here. My 50mm nifty-50 goes in this small room in here. Sometimes I don't bring that along, but I can bring drone batteries or another accessory in here. Then for here goes my drone, and then drone controller, drone batteries, whatever I might need. I use this compartment or this storage up here for that. And I've had such great experience with this. We've fitted so much gear in this, my girlfriend and I. It's incredible. Aside from my Mavic 2 and the controllers and my heavy lenses, we've also fit an A6400 with the kit lens and a Mini 2 drone and the controller for that, with batteries and everything in here, also including some small rig accessories. And on top of that, my camera also has the small rig cage on it, so it actually takes up a little bit more space. That being said, that is also why it has been feeling a little bit less sturdy sometimes, because we've just packed it so heavily. But that just goes to show that you can fit a lot of stuff, a lot of gear inside of this camera cube, which is essential for me. Now, I have one thing that can be both a pro and a con, and it's a little bit of a love-hate relationship with these bags, especially for this reason, and that is that they fold flat like they do. So of course that means a little bit less padding on the sides, but to be honest, they have plenty of padding and the camera cube as well. If you're scared about your gear, you don't have to be at all. But they fold flat, which means that when you have your camera cube inside, and this is mostly a problem on the bigger one, but also a little bit on the small one, is that things can fall to the sides on the cube. But the reason why I'm saying it's a love-hate relationship is that, first of all, you do have all the pockets and everything, so it's not a big issue. It just happened sometimes. But the trade-off is, of course, that it can fold completely flat, which means that someone like me who travels with a suitcase as well, I can fold this flat or the bigger one and fit that inside my suitcase, or even use it as a compartment for my suitcase for clothes or shoes or whatever I need. And for that reason, I don't really mind that gear is sometimes falling a little bit around, whereas I've had other camera backpacks where the divider just fits really strongly inside, or it has more padding on the sides. That means that it can fold, which is a pain when you're trying to travel with more, but it also means that camera gear or stuff, loose stuff, doesn't fall around as much. It's not a huge issue, to be honest, but I just wanted to mention that as well. It is an honest review. All right, with the bigger bags out of the way and the modular system and everything, which is of course the main products, they are great if you didn't get that from the review so far. Let's talk about the two smaller products that they have as well. This is the Sling bag. This is a bag that I did not use a lot in the beginning, but have used more and more since I have been in Indonesia and I am a little bit more in the same place. This Sling bag is so great for going out for evening shoots or walks where you just want to bring your camera. Now, I can fit my Canon R6 with the 24-70 in here just barely. It fits and I can bring it around and it keeps my camera safe, so that's perfect. But it just fits. So I'll just say you can't bring that much else if you use it like that. But if you have a smaller camera like a Sony that most people use these days, this will be perfect because the Sony bodies are a little bit smaller. So it'll easily fit inside this Sling bag. Now the cool thing is that you can just sling it around you and bring it everywhere, bring your camera around. And it has a lot of small pockets, compartments, space for batteries, cables, whatever you may need in here basically, and also a pocket on the back that can be used to store your phone or small accessories. We brought this to the beach the other day to shoot a product and it was perfect. I could bring everything just in this small bag, even though I have my camera as well. So I really like bringing this around for just these small things. It's mostly because I don't like having a backpack on. When I need to, because I need to bring all my gear, of course I'll bring one of the backpacks, but when I just go out for an evening or a walk, I don't want to carry around a backpack. I just want to feel a little bit more free. Then this Sling is perfect, and that's what I mostly use it for. You could also remove the Sling strap here, which is easily done by these carabines, and bring it around or use it in the backpacks as a compartment or a tech pouch. That'll work great if you have a lot of gear or microphones or stuff like that you carry around. I use that when I travel between countries in my suitcase. This goes as an extra compartment for keeping some of my other gear, my microphones and stuff like that, safe in here. So for that, it's great. I don't want to go too much in depth on this. I love having it, and if you pick up the backpack, consider picking up this as well. If it's something that you feel would fit your needs as well, it is great for just those scenarios that I've talked about, going out for a walk or an evening or somewhere where you just want to bring your camera, you want to keep it safe, you don't want it dangling off you without any protection, this is what I would go for. So for the last product in this series is the tech pouch. And I must say, this has blown me away. And it sounds stupid maybe, but I used to have a larger tech pouch from Peak Design and I used that a lot. But to be honest, I always felt it was a little bit big and a little bit bulky. And this is a bit slimmer, a bit wider, I think as well. Might not be, I'm not entirely sure. But the pockets and everything that it can carry is just perfect for what I need it for. And I bring this around more than I bring any of the backpacks. This is always with me when I go out to work. It has my mouse, my cables, my SSD, my charger, everything in here. And when I go for a shoot, it has my ND filters, it has my drone NDs, cloths and things I need to clean my gear. Basically fits everything I need. And I always have some extra cables lying around here, some extra small accessories that I need. Just in these small pockets, it has a pocket with a zipper in here as well. And these compartments are what I use the most. These flaps where you can see my ND filters sitting in right now. But the cable management and everything and the way it's built is just perfect for the size of what I'm bringing around. It might not be the case for you, I can't say, but I'm super excited about this. And for some reason, I keep bringing this around everywhere with me. It's not always that I bring a backpack when I'm going out to work. I usually just bring this and then my computer on the side if I don't want a full backpack and if I'm not bringing my camera gear. So I really love bringing this around and I think it's a great addition. It seems like such a small product, but also it fits inside the 20 liters on top of the camera cube, of course inside of the 35 liters as well, and it can actually fit on the side of the 35 liter when you have the camera cube in as well. So you can save a little bit of space by using this and still keeping your gear from falling around and being everywhere. And it's just an easy item to grab out, get what you need, and then zip it up again without having to look through pockets and everything. So a great little addition, and the size of it is absolutely perfect. I love that it's a bit more slim compared to what I've had in the past. All right, so who are these bags for? Now, as mentioned a little bit in the intro as well, I think these bags are pretty much for anyone. You can use them even without being a photographer or videographer. You can just use them as the space that they have inside, and you can still attach them together to 55 liters, and that just makes it possible to bring a lot of gear or a lot of items, a lot of whatever you need on your travels or your daily life, and also makes it possible to still have the two bags separately, which is my absolute favorite feature. So I think this is the only bag you will need for the future. It basically does everything that you need, and the modularity is, yeah, I don't know, I keep saying it, I really like that feature. The other products, great as well. The Sling for the smaller shoots, as I tried to convey in the intro as well. This kind of goes full circle on all the gear or all the essentials that you kind of need for shooting. If you're a photographer or a videographer, plenty of space for everything. So I highly recommend these products, and not just because they sent them and asked me to do a review. They didn't tell me to say anything specific, apart from that these are sample products and the final products have some changes, which I've mentioned throughout this review. But apart from that, this is my honest reaction and my honest review. And I'm just super excited about these products, and I really hope that the backing for this product goes all the way through, because for a first product and a first camera bag from Nostalgia, this is absolutely incredible. I think they've taken everything that's great about other backpacks, put it into this modular system, and made it pretty much perfect from the beginning, at least for my needs and for what I do and what I shoot. And that is pretty versatile around the world, daily shooting. I shoot almost every day. So for me, highly recommend, 10 out of 10. There's not a lot I would change, if anything. And some of these things that I would change have actually been changed for the final product. So I don't really have anything more to say or do for these. I'm not that picky with my backpacks. I just really didn't like the side access only. So the back access and the modularity. As said in the beginning, there's a link for the Kickstarter campaign down in the description. It also helps me out a little bit. If you get these bags, it'll help you out. So helping out Nostalgia, me and yourself, all around, a great trade. And I will leave it at that for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the bags, the use, I'm happy to answer anything. Leave it down in the comments and I'll see you there. Until the next time, take care.